Costa Rica is a testament that is not only possible, but necessary to move from a state-centered security approach to a new paradigm based on human security. Costa Rica is unique insofar as its security system is not specifically tailored in response to a single threat, nor is it specifically responsive to any regional security conditions. Costa Rica has established a foreign policy based on the steadfast notions that it's possible to become strong without being armed, that it's possible to provide human welfare without being rich, and that it's possible to be a standard bearer for international human rights and international law without the resources of an outsized diplomatic corps. For Costa Rica, security does not come from multiplying weapons. History has proven these too many times. Security comes from remedying injustices, easing shortages, and creating opportunities so that we can have collective prosperity on par with collective security. However, today we see that the lives of many peoples and communities around the world are constantly affected by uncertainty, fear, and insecurity. Unprecedented temperatures drive food insecurity and starvation, forcing those who have been deprived to migrate or resort to violence to be able to produce or procure food. Crime, poverty, distrust and fear push people to arm themselves, increasing the levels of armed violence at interpersonal levels, which leads to unsustainable burdens on healthcare systems, among a wide array of other barriers to the three dimensions of sustainable development and the deprivation of the enjoyment of all human rights, in particular for women, girls, and youth. According to the latest figures available, 45% of global violent deaths were committed by small arms, amounting to a total of 260,000 deaths of people killed by small arms in 2021. Data also shows that between 2020 and 2021, direct conflict deaths markedly increased in almost all countries suffering by active conflicts, with a notable increase in lethal violence in the Sahel G5 countries and the broader Middle Africa region. Both international and non-international armed conflicts are sadly causing death and suffering around our international community, affecting the lives of many women, girls, boys, and men, both during and after hostilities. But this is a different time. Principles and rules of international law, especially those of humanitarian law and human rights law, which used to be considered written on stone, are being challenged most poignantly by everyday actions and change of conscience of several actors around the world, as well as indicated by the Secretary General's new agenda for peace. We need a renewed human-centered multilateralism informed by trust and solidarity among families, communities, and nations. And please let me include a third fundamental element that we rarely hear: good faith. Without good faith in both interpretation and application of the law, obligations are nothing more than base pledges, expressions of good intent to prepare for lashing rain only when the sun is shining. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, as Otto von Feinherr notes, realist logic dictates that Costa Rica could never exert any significant influence in the anarchic international arena of independent nation states. How, then, to account for my country's ability to establish and lead at the multilateral level? The response is simple. Costa Rica is an increasingly important advocate of human security as regional, international security at the United Nations and in other fora, and is viewed as a credible voice in this regard precisely because of its strategic choice to become a non-militarized neutral state. Costa Rica has become the public face and the public voice of human security, humanitarian disarmament, a champion of international law and international human rights law, gender equality, inclusive prosperity, social well-being, and environmental sustainability, all of which are explicitly recognized as necessary preconditions for international peace and security. I thank you. You will be amazed to learn that most instruments related to international peace and security are gender blind. And the Program of Action on Small Arms Allied Weapons is not the exception. It was until 2018, during the third review conference, that we started as a global community to address the gender blindness of this instrument that is related to small arms allied weapons. Then, in 2021 and 22, and last year, 23, Costa Rica has been instrumental in solving the gender blindness of the POA. And you will be also happy to learn that I'm the president designate, and as of Monday next week, I'll be the next president of the fourth review conference of the Program of Action to prevent, eliminate, and eradicate the illicit transfer of small arms allied weapons in all its aspects. I'm the second woman in history to do that. And I come with a vast experience and hopeful that we can raise the standards and solve the gender blindness of this instrument. It takes a lot of work. Don't think it has been easy. Costa Rica has mobilized member states, so through joint statements, we have been able to protect the language and gender, and as to have disaggregated data, because what is not measured is not seen. We need the data not only to address the needs of states, but to match what they are lacking and what the international community at the sub-regional, regional, and global level can do for them. Latin America and the Caribbean is the most violent region in the world because of small arms allied weapons and their ammunition. For the first time last year, we have a global framework to address ammunition. People don't die from gun wounds. People die from bullet wounds. And yet, the resistance of some member states to make the connection between ammunition and small arms is monumental. We have a long road ahead of us, but I can assure you that at least during my tenure as ambassador, my legacy will be addressing the gender blindness, not only in small arms allied weapons and ammunition, but on nuclear weapons, drones, artificial intelligence, cyber, and many of our work and statements have that perspective. And intellectually, it's a contribution to the knowledge of how we can see security through the lenses of gender. And that, for me, it's part of my legacy, and it matters. I thank you.